40 publications in international journals, and he is the focal person of today's conference.
I humbly request Engineer Professor Dr. Atal Mehboob, Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Islamic University of Bahawalpur, to please come on stage and take his reserved seat. Sir, please.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa sallim ala Allahumma barik What the Vice Chancellor, Engineer Professor Dr. Atal Mehboob Sahib, Professor Dr. Maimuna Ghani Sahiba, Director, Executive Training Center, the dignitaries, esteemed international guests, distinguished research scholars, excellencies, colleagues, participants, organizers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to welcome all of you. Today marks our fourth international conference on Linguistics and Literature 2020, and we are grateful to Almighty Allah for giving us power to host it today here at this wonderful place with all of you. Universities exist as sources of knowledge creation, innovation, and intellectual advancement. The Department of English Linguistics IUB has been making its utmost efforts to expand human horizons in the field of English linguistics by inviting scholars from national and international universities. In the 21st century Pakistan, we are living through particularly challenging times. Our country is beset by issues of insecurity, law and order, poverty, violence, and transitional phase economy. In the age of information technology, the world around us is changing fast technologically. Paradigms are shifting. Linear thinking and linear processes are being replaced by exponential growth and dynamic process. In the recent past years, our worthy Vice Chancellor has set forth multiple educational mechanisms for the promotion of learning in southern Punjab, and these academic ventures have unfolded various opportunities for the growth and development of the region. I, on behalf of my team, the organizers, the faculty members, and the entire Department of English Linguistics, particularly thank Engineer Professor Dr. Atal Mehboob Sahib, His Excellency, for providing a conducive and rich environment in the university. Whenever our department approached the Vice Chancellor for his consent and support of organizing events, even if he was traveling to other cities, he gave his consent readily, and that facilitated the smooth organization of the events. I remember the first address I listened to given by him sitting there. In that address, he said that there are events where information content is very limited, but the duration of those events is longer. And there are events where the duration is limited, but the information content is great. So being information scientists, I think these words he gave us should guide us in the organization of the event and designing of conferences programs. Keeping in view these words given by me, we tried our utmost that the information content in the conference is rich and fertile. So once again, I thank the worthy Vice Chancellor, our foreign guests, our local speakers, our heads of department from Rohingya Khan campus and from Bhavannagar campus, and all the faculty members who have helped us organize this event. Our faculty members, teaching faculty members, work day and night to ensure the realization of this conference. We gave call for paper 4 months back, and gradually today, with the help of Almighty Allah, we see it being staged here. So I thank all my colleagues, because this event was conceived and planned by me, but practically translating into practice, it was not one man's task. So all of them have helped me, and I thank them in my capacity as in charge of the department. I thank Professor Dr. Maimuna Mani for being here. In fact, she is the founder of international conferences, in-person conferences that Linguistic Faculty of Islamic State Bahawalpur has been staging here since 2013. In 2013, it was our first conference, in-person conference, and then second conference 2017, and then third conference in 2019. So after 3 years, following the COVID-19 pandemic, we are able to organize in-person conference after 3 years. So I am grateful to Almighty Allah. So here I am going to present introduction of the department and the milestones achieved by the department. So this is the administrative hierarchy of our department. Engineer Professor Dr. Atal Mehboob Sahib, Professor Dr. Javed Samshani Sahib, and Dr. Shai Nawaz is our faculty coordinator. And these are our faculty member, assistant professors, Dr. Shahzad Kareem, Dr. Taira Asra, Dr. Naveen Javed, Ms. Kiran Maharbi, Dr. Mashada Saiba, Dr. Sayyid Wasim Azhar Sahib, Madam Dr. Misbah Rashid Saiba, and Madam Ms. Misbah Rashid Saiba. And we are thankful to the Vice Chancellor for catering to the needs of our department. The increasing number of enrollments at our department demanded new teachers, and we generously recruited new teachers to address the teacher-student ratio at the department. So we have a new addition at our department, Dr. Sumaira Khan, lecturer. These are our lecturers. Dr. Sadar Siddiq, Ms. Aisha Iyas, Ms. Farazia Ishaq Saiba, Ms. Izzat Shakil Saiba, Ms. Raja Praveen Saiba, and Ms. Sabreen Anjan Saiba, Ms. Salia Praveen Saiba, Ms. Saina Salwan Saiba, Ms. Amina Batul Saiba, Mr. Umar Salim, Mr. Muhammad Ambar, Mr. Sumail Zalim Sajjan Khan, and Mr. Muhammad Khalid. So all these people have worked day and night, I bear witness, for the realization of this conference. And these are our famous and notable alumni members who are serving in different universities of Pakistan. And here is the output of our department. Publication. The publications produced by assistant professor, around 130, and lecturers, this is 60 publications in HEC recognized journals. So total publications around 100, more than 180 publications. And we invited national experts in 2 years to address our students. Around 74 national experts in 15 webinars, 3 conferences, and 3 workshops. They addressed our students from other universities. And 42 international speakers, they addressed our students from other universities of the world. So this is detail of the events organized at the department in 2 years. So these are glimpses of flyers of those events, webinars and seminars, and these are the conferences. Now we have departmental committees to address different needs, administrative needs of the department. Research committee, green practices committee, course design committee, examination, course allocation, alumni affairs, audit committee, discipline committee, QC committee, external linkages, language lab committee, budget committee, library committee, and event management committee. Now, universities exist for society. So, what is the impact of our department on society? I have just drawn a diagram to show the impact. Corpus linguistics, neurolinguistics, cognitive linguistics, translation studies, semantic pragmatics. So it's a complex cycle and pattern of impact on society that language brings. I call linguistics chemistry of communication. This is my own definition, chemistry of communication. So what is the impact of this chemistry of communication on society? Impact of discourse. We see that our actions are prompted by what people say, what other people say. The dresses we wear, they are prompted by what other people say. So, keeping in view the importance of discourse and semiotics in society, we have staged events on the importance of discourse and on understanding discourses around us, on media, in everyday life. So, our department tries to contribute in the personality grooming, critical thinking skills, and creativity, self-recognition, a cure to self-elevation, capacity building, and ability to appreciate comprehensively your scriptures as acceptability or variety, capacity for expression, and other things. At macro level, linguistic diversity, we pre-acquaint students about the linguistic diversity of the world. The words from the Quran, which today we took as the theme of our conference, and that is science is the creation of heaven and earth, and the diversity of your languages and your colors. So we pre-acquaint students about the diversity of cultures and languages in the world, so that they can become effective communicators. Cultural sensitivity, a cure to social imbalance, global social networks, contribution to medical sciences, a healthy social discourses, contribution to rich educational infrastructure. So this was a brief introduction of our conferences and the milestones achieved by our society. Once again, I thank all of you, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Atar Mehboob Sahib, for being here, supporting us, patronizing our events for 2 years, and the PRO office for all our events, our news releases. We are thankful to him. They facilitated us, and all the administrative officers of this university, the students' body, the linguistic color of our department, who contributed a lot in the staging of this organization, and all the volunteers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words are full of passion and vision. Respectable audience, to elevate the spirit of the conference, I am privileged to invite the worthy Vice Chancellor of the Jamia University of Bahawalpur, Engineer Professor Dr. Atar Mehboob, to please come on the rostrum and deliver his second word. Dr. Atar.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dr. Riyaz Hussain Sahab, Professor Dr. Maimuna Ghani Sahiba, our worthy guests from abroad, conference delegates, faculty members, and dear students. Assalamu alaikum. I am very excited today to be a part of this international conference on linguistics and language teaching, the fourth one, in fact, in the series. I am happy to note that the Department of Linguistics, English Linguistics at Islamic University of Bahawalpur, is one of the most active departments. This particular newsletter, which summarizes the activities which have been undertaken over the last 2 years, is a testament to the efforts being made under the leadership of Dr. Riaz Hussain, with the efforts and contributions of all the faculty members of the department and the guidance of Professor Dr. Maimuna Ghani. The activities include international collaboration. They include a large series of webinars touching on all the important contemporary topics, as well as seminars on national level, inviting speakers from all across the country, from all the academic and research institutions, colloquia, symposiums, conferences, training workshops, and the collaborations, the doctoral defenses by the students obtaining PhD from the department, the research publications of the department, faculty and graduates at the national and international level. They are all highly heartwarming. Furthermore, I would like to refer to two of the particular slides shown by Dr. Riaz Hussain on the micro level impacts and the macro level impacts. To me, those are the most important points that are summarized. I am so happy to note that the department has grown in terms of student strength. So we have available with us an army of enthusiastic students who want to develop themselves as communicators, as those who are agents of creating a better understanding between people. The need for communication has always been present throughout ages. In fact, the human being as a creature distinguishes itself that it has this particular ability to communicate, and because of that communication, it is able to ensure its survival in very adverse and harsh circumstances. With this communication, it is able to communicate its plans, its ideas across large populations, and it's able to do action in a distributed way throughout the globe. This particular capability is not available to any other creation. So I'm very happy that the Department of Linguistics has such bright students, such committed students with such good faculty available, so that we can, all of you together, can develop yourselves as effective communicators, as effective linguists, and become specialized, become very much proficient in the use of language. You can become parts of the various teams and make it possible for others to learn these communication skills that you will master during your studies. All other subject domains, definitely they are also learning to communicate. But you as a group of students who are working specifically on how to use the language most effectively, how the language has been changing, how the language will change over the future, how it has changed in the past, and how we may influence it, how we may make the best use of the communication tools, make it most effective, make it well understood. Because overall, in a very functioning and prosperous society, the understanding of the language and effective communication, it's inevitable to make the society peaceful, prosperous, progressive. Our laws are written in language, and a better understanding of the language, a better understanding of the way in which those laws should in fact be written, so they are easily understood by everyone, and everyone can then understand and practice those laws. So the need to develop a very good understanding of not just the language, but how the ideas can be communicated in the language, and how to assess how much effort we need to make. So you all are becoming specialists in that. You are becoming part of the international community of communicators and linguists. Your role will not just be confined to your region and localized. Yes, you will have to play a very effective role locally and nationally. But being English linguists, you carry with yourself the abilities and the capabilities to contribute at the global and the international level. So the tools, the techniques, the knowledge, the skills that you are being empowered with in your department, through your curriculum, the studies, the classroom discussions that you have, and a plethora of activities. So it is very heartwarming to see that all sorts of modern techniques to exchange ideas, to reinforce ideas, to develop your communication skills, to expose yourself to the vast amounts of knowledge that exist, the best practices that there are. So my job here is to appreciate the organizers of today's conference, which is a part of the overall effort which is being done. You are very important and critical to our national strategy. So if you become effective linguists, communicators, you will become part of a solution for our nation, both at the level of region and nation, as well as you will enhance our soft power all over the world. I see the world of the future where there are tremendous opportunities. So every day we have a conference. Yesterday we had one on climate change. But I would like to put things in some context. Historically, a review of human history over the last 10,000 years has shown that major changes, major rearrangements and realignments in the world, rise of civilizations happen, and there are three major signs of that. The first sign is climatic changes. The second sign is migrations. And the third sign is epidemics. So what we have been witnessing over the last few years, all three signs of major changes are available right in front of our eyes. So as budding young professionals, individuals, you must arm yourself with the knowledge and the skills that you are studying in your curriculum of English linguistics, which is not just a single discipline. It combines knowledge from multiple disciplines. And you must ensure that you are yourself a proficient and effective communicator, and your expertise is not less than anyone else. But at the same time, you must work to enhance the overall average communication skills of others around you. So you are the agents of a change. Your contribution, you will be the catalyst. You will be the salt which will add taste to the flavor to the food. So my request to you is keep doing the good work that you are doing, keep doing the hard work that you are doing, and contribute and devote yourself even more to become more effective communicators. Read more, practice more, train others more. Go out and contribute in the schools. Volunteer to teach children. Volunteer to teach your peers in the other departments. You are our asset. With your efforts, through your contribution, I believe that the future world, which is undergoing tremendous changes, there will be great opportunities for people of Pakistan And through our collaborations with our partners and friendly nations, there will be tremendous opportunities, and you will play an important role in that. So may God be with you. Thank you very much. I wish all the success to the Department of English Linguistics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time and valuable comments. You are no doubt an inspiring figure. Your contributions for the progress of educational programs, infrastructural initiatives, and developmental projects are a way forward in this region. Thank you so much.
Now it's time to present shields among the organizers and guest speakers. I humbly request Engineer Professor Dr. Atim, Dr. Ali Karkash, Dr. Walid Karsal, Professor Dr. Mamuna Ghani, Dr. Muhammad Asif, Dr. Riaz Hussain to distribute shields, please.
Muhammad Hamza, the student of the Linguistics Club.
Please come and receive your shield.
Umar Ahmad Khan, Muhammad Shahid Habib, Asif Amin, Ms. Wajiha Salim, Ms. Maham Shahid.
Dr. Sumaira Tamur, please come and receive your shield. Dr. Sadaf Siddiq, Mr. Muhammad Sumair Zahid, Mr. Muhammad Zishan Khan, Mr. Hamad Javed, Ms. Sadia Parveen, Ms. Farah Zaid, Ms. Rabia Jabi, Ms. Samreen Anjum, Mr. Muhammad Ammar, Ms. Saima Sarwar, Ms. Eza Shakil, Ms. Amina Batul, Mr. Umar Sadeed. And Ms. Aisha Ilyas. Dr. Yogi. Next, Dr. Sayyid Wasim Azhar Gilani. Dr. Shehzad Kareem. Dr. Tahir Asghar. Dr. Noshaba Haq. Dr. Misbah Sheen. Dr. Bushra from Bhavanagar. Ms. Misbah Roshni.
Dr. Imtiaz Khan Sahib, Associate Professor in the Department of
Dr. Saeed from Bhavanagar.
Ms. Maria Rafi from India Khan. Ms. Irma Harvey. Ms. Shahida Parveen.
Now, I would like to request the Vice Chancellor to present shield to Dr. Ali Karakash.
Thank you so much. Dr. Khalid Patel is now requested to receive his shield, please.
Dr. Muhammad Asif.
Dr. Riaz Hussain, please receive your shield. Professor Dr. Lamuna Ghani. Professor Dr. Navani. Now I request Dr. Ali Garkash, Dr. Walid Karkal, Dr. Muhammad Asif, Dr. Riaz Hussain, and Professor Dr. Mamuna Gandhi to present the Shield of Honor to the Worthy Vice Chancellor, Engineer Professor Dr. Atam Nabil. Respected teachers are invited on stage for a group photo. Thank you so much. Now I humbly request Dr. Ali Karkal to please come for his talk. Please welcome Dr. Ali Karkal.
थोड़ा सा आप उस साइड पे चले जाओ गर्ल्स को।
Okay, Assalamu alaikum again. Thank you so much, everyone, especially for the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Riyad, all the faculty members for hosting us here. Today I'm going to talk about LGBTC on the screen, willingness to listen, and how we might increase field service teachers being on the willingness to listen. As you might have also heard in the panel discussions, listening, speaking, such skill like quite ignored in most of the countries, which also includes Turkey and Turkish educational system. So, I'd like to give you some basic background information about the case of English. Actually, we have just touched upon some certain issues. The shifts that actually English has gone through over the years, especially over the last decades. Now we just keep talking about English as a global language, English as a lingua franca, but previously there was this, for example, EFL, English as a foreign language. But I find this term quite actually outdated because English is not a foreign language anymore. For something to be taught, we shouldn't have that much interaction, but English is everywhere. Right now, here, connecting me with these speakers, with virtual participants here. Although we do not share the same mother tongue or first language. So, along with these changes, the role of English, the domains of English, where English is also changing. Academia, aviation, business, trade. So, it is impacting our life. So, together with these changes, new understanding will also developing. How should we approach English? If you're going to teach English, so what should be the purpose of language teaching? Should we aim at helping students to reach these native speaker, so-called communicative competence, or there should be some other alternatives in the current era where we use English mostly with non-native speakers, especially in our new context, and also thanks to technological tools. anybody might just use the link and connect to the talk and listen to us from anywhere around the world. This is quite actually a significant step in the field of language teaching. So, especially currently keeping in these actual principles and the new developments, most of the actual language teaching policies are geared towards preparing students for real-world communication, authentic communication, as we are having here, a real-world communication. Not like the one that you find in the mainstream reality published in the field of courses or the CDs, in which you will just be listening to native speakers with British or American accents. Maybe possibly sometimes, maybe almost relaxed. But this is the reality. A Turkish speaker addressing Pakistani speakers in the majority, and I guess we don't have any native English speakers. Maybe online, I don't know. But this is the reality. So that means we have to make adjustments, right, in the way we teach English, in the way we assess students' English proficiency. So previously, one of the researchers McIntyre also introduced the term willingness to communicate. Rather than targeting at developing communicative competence, we should be targeting actually helping students to develop willingness to communicate. All the challenges, the things that we discussed in the panel actually comes down to the notion of willingness to communicate. And that's the main problem. Students are not willing to communicate. But this is a superordinate concept. It has some sub-dimensions like willingness to listen, willingness to speak and write. But out of these dimensions, the focus was mostly on willingness to speak. As you might see here, it doesn't move, but in the next slide there are some definitions you will see. If someone just move to the next one, you're going to see the term willingness to communicate was conceptualized as a result of the work on unwillingness to communicate, which is the chronic tendency to do value oral communication. So, especially this is the case with most students, including our pre-service teachers. So, I hope you all have the idea what I mean by the pre-service teachers. Student teachers in the program, after graduating, they start teaching English. And often, when they come to the department, they come with these lack of speaking skills, listening skills, and therefore the first grade is most respect for skill development courses. Reading, writing, listening and pronunciation and speaking. And seeing this problem with the students, I decided to carry out a study. Because most of the studies aim to detect willingness to communicate or willingness to listen levels, but I wanted to improve their willingness to listen in a target language. And as you know, especially listening did not receive much attention until like 1980s. The focus was on speaking, and initially with the previous methods, the focus was on grammar translation, pronunciation development, or phonetic ability. But especially with the research studies that highlighted the importance of input, right? Without input, no output. So input should be given by talk, but should be actually given through the listening. Listening is important, and sometimes we just have this misconception, when we are listening, we have to speak. No, this is not the case. Yes, we also speak for instructional or listen for instructional purposes, but in most cases we just listen for a wide range of reasons, right? You might just watch or listen to TV programs, radio stations. You don't have to talk. But you still need to listen and pay attention actively to decode the message, decipher it, and interpret it. But in the classroom case, right? In the classroom case, we also want learners to listen, to respond. Sending of information, reception of information. So this one is also about the reception of the listening. For example, I believe, or I should, or I have to, I would like to believe that we have the willingness to listen to me right now. A speaker, what might influence your willingness? The speaker himself, right? The topic, whether you're interested in the topic or not. The speech characteristics of the speaker, or there might be some issues about yourself. The listener-related factors. Your regular vocabulary, your familiarity with the topic. To what extent do you know about the topic? Your prior knowledge, background knowledge. These are all important things. So I wanted to make this study on global English paradigm, which is the recent one, which is concerned with the global socio-linguistic distribution of English and English users As you know, the first language is take on the title language. I don't know how I sound to you, but I'm not a native speaker, probably. I don't sound like a native speaker. And as you will notice, I don't sound like Dr. Riaz or Professor Mahmoud. It's quite different. My idiom, right? Turkish influenced English, peppered with some Turkish expressions, with Turkish influenced sound production, and this is quite normal. But if learners do not get any exposure to these type of differences, like global users of English, they often develop negative attitudes towards these speakers. As in the case of the question about hiring people right from non-native backgrounds. Because even the students have negative attitudes. I don't want to learn English from a Turkish in Dubai, let's say, or in a different context. So what does this global English say about language teaching? The major purpose is to develop learners' global English awareness. So what does it include? Making them familiar with characteristics of different interlocutors from different language backgrounds, plus from different cultural backgrounds. Language does not just consist of utterances. Our culture, cultural values, cultural norms, even the posture, the way you stand, influences the way we communicate, the message that we are sending, especially if you're a speaker. Now I'm in the position of a speaker, you're in the position of listener, right? You're just listening, decoding the message. Maybe you are pretending to be listening to me. I don't know. There is no sign. I cannot actually measure this. So for this we have some kind of questionnaire, but don't worry, I'm not going to give you any scale or questionnaires. Mostly from this context. So what did I do with my first grade students? When they first came to the department, before listening and speaking course started, I gave them a scale. A questionnaire scale consisting of 19 items. In the very first week, even before they started taking the course. And after 14 weeks, which is the duration of a term, one term in Turkey, I gave the same scale to the students again. The purpose was to see whether there have been any changes in their willingness to listen. And the scale has some dimensions, I'm going to show you them later. But afterwards, I also interviewed 10 of these students, just to find out what they think about the course content, the speakers that they listen to, the activities, the tasks they are actually engaged during the classes, and there were some interesting findings. But we've got to give you some information about the course. It's a 14-week course. It's a compulsory course. Wherever you go in Turkey, in language teacher education program, the first graders should take this course. The purpose is to help students to analyze the speech samples, learn about some basics of phonetics, like minimal pairs, sound discrimination, and also do some listening and speaking strategies. Listening provide the input, and often good speakers are good listeners, because when you are exposed to language, different types of audio text, you grasp lots of useful lexical terms, word groups that are practical, easier to use, like idiomatic expressions. And they also listen text at varying levels, short ones like 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, long ones, lecture type ones. Because this is what we face. You attend a conference, somebody is standing up and just giving you like a 30-minute talk. For some, it might not be quite easy to concentrate, right? To keep the span of attention. Sometimes 2-minute talk, sometimes just monologue, sometimes you listen to dialogue or group talk. These are all the things that might actually influence one's willingness to listen in English. And we also follow these stages of listening, like pre-listening, while listening, and post-listening. And in each stage, there were different activities to be carried out by the students. So also, I wanted to see the impact of the activities carried out in these stages. To what extent the activities influences or contributes to students' listening comprehension and their willingness to listen in classes. Some of the materials I used, some screenshots from the videos or from the course books that I used. I never use one single material, thanks to the technology, as mentioned by the speakers today, by Dr. Asaf and Dr. Gani. I was using the tools of technology in my classes for listening, TED Talks, Google Pods, podcasts, and also course books, which also has right now QR codes. You just scan it, you just listen to the text, but you get the hard copy. That's perfect. You don't have to go to the library, find this piece of CD, then find a CD player. Sometimes the CDs has some scratches, it doesn't work. But here, as long as you have the internet, the problem will be fixed. And here there were different tasks, different topics. As you see, These speakers are mostly non-native speakers talking on a wide range of topics. Politics, religion, any topics that the Jewish students might become exposed in their daily life, even in Turkish. Whatever they are doing, lyrics, sometimes music. So for data collection, I use the scale developed by a Turkish researcher, a 19-item scale, which has 4 dimensions. As you see, speaker-related, listener-related, topic, and task-related dimensions. First, I evaluate their scores totally, and then I evaluate their scores in each dimension separately. Then the quantitative data, which actually consists of the interview data, I carried out with 10 of my students on a volunteer basis. Again, in line with the scale, there were 4 major categories: agency, speaker, listener, task, and topic-related issues were brought up by students. So this is the scale, just for you to get an idea of what the scale looks like. Speaker, different readings, different accent, different speech rate. Some people tend to speak fast, including myself, but doctors are peace of mind, slowly, word by word. This is speaker, listener-related differences. And listener-related, it's all about you, whether you have enough to tell, right? You have the background knowledge about the topic of the listening text. These are also important. If somebody gives a talk to me about engineering, I have no idea. But linguistics, language, general stuff, yes. Aviation, no. I just know the announcements made by the host or the hostesses, that's all. Task, after they listen, they have to engage in the task so that they can actually improve their language, right? Sometimes they are required to follow task, listen and answer the question. Sometimes pair work. After listening, discuss the follow-up question. So group work. And the topic, this is the widest actual dimension with 7 items, includes syntactical, grammatical knowledge, the complex structure text, the utterances, the speaker, again, related issue regarding the topic. Now, when we get to the major findings, as you might have seen, the pre-test was and post-test progress. What does this specifically mean? There was no significant difference. And the course we failed to improve learners willing to listen in class. I'm going to make some comments on the result but here. Even the pre-test result is not that much lower. So overall, they have high levels of listen scores, but the course is 14-week course, we can actually improve this grades to a significant level. Now, in the speaker dimension, but whoever they will listen to. Again, I couldn't detect any significant difference, but you might just look at the why, the increase in the post-test. So, more students actually get higher scores in the post-test. But excessively, the result was not a significant one. But to eliminate these findings, why didn't we discuss? It became clear that especially students with higher post-test scores emphasize the fact that they do not really want to show in power when they specifically heard speakers from different cultures, speakers with different accents, cultures, speakers with different pace of delivery, speakers. Also, this is the maybe most important one. Student 7. It's the student 7 talking about the current gather of language. We do not face British, Americans, or English people, even on the campus. But we have lots of international students. But where? From Syria, from Islamic countries, even from Turkic countries, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, and even some African countries. And these are the student groups my students face and use me. But in the classroom, previously I was from using the mainstream reality courses from Oxford, Macmillan, which mostly just portrays native English speakers with standard English. Listen and take. However, even native English-speaking countries have lots of regional dialects and varieties. I don't know whether you have heard anyone from Liverpool or Manchester. You will doubt about your English when you hear these people. Quite different. Whereas even idiomatic expressions, all the way you just articulate the sound. So here, we just see the importance of increased familiarity. So that implies a pedagogical implication. We should expose others to different in listening and speaking classes. Why? It makes things easier when they encounter someone from their background. When they listen to a TED talk former Pakistani speaker, let's say, or former Russian speaker or Chinese speaker, they will actually have a rule of listening comprehension. And they will also eliminate these negative attitudes. Often we fear what we don't know, right? But when we are familiarized, when we get to know more, then the negative feelings and views about the speaker and speech practices will wash away, but not immediately, of course. In the listening dimension, unfortunately, again, there was not a significant difference, but there was an increase. In most cases, the scores increased. But again, statistically, it wasn't a significant difference. But the interview results are much more illuminating. So especially when we look at the course, we understand the importance of peer listening phases. Because in the peer listening, the purpose is to prepare learners for the listening text, to generate their interest in the course. Sometimes they might lose their interest, right? So it's, again, the teacher of teacher, to generate the interest in the upcoming content. Otherwise, they might be pretending to be listening, but they might be drawing a flower on the page. So you should walk around and see whether they're actually listening or not. And we also, especially the students whose willingness to listen scores drop in this dimension, they often complain about the lack of vocabulary. As the keynote speaker from the region mentioned, like linguistic competence, lexical competence, your vocabulary knowledge often influences your perception, listening comprehension, and it also influences your answer, response, right? You might not just formulate specific, complicated, or compound complex sentences. It will keep things simple. In the task dimension, whether they're learn alone, together, or group work, again, this time, what is surprising is the process scores dropped. Again, it was not a significant drop, but they lost their willingness to listen when it comes to the items related to the task. And we will see reasons why, because it also tells lots of things about the teaching code in the classroom. When we form the groups, often we form groups randomly. So students might make a full interest group in which they might have some students who are not that much doing the cooperate. This is often the case. Why I say it's important to know the group members, especially if you're going to engage in pair work, group work, they cannot actually talk to, especially if they don't have this intimacy. They cannot open up. So, something to keep in mind, especially for teachers. How should we group students for these interactive activities? Not just for listening, especially for speaking as well, for other skills, for group work. But most important, why is lack of strategies. Listening to there, lots of listening to this. Unfortunately, we have no course that specifically focus on strategy training. Students often do their own strategies, which they don't know that they are strategic. They just use them, like making a case on the content, trying to focus on the workbook, or using the information more for syntactic information to listening. And also lack of instruction. In some cases, probably this is something again the course teacher, and who is me, so I think they're complaining about me. The instructions were not clear. They didn't know what to do after listening to text, especially if they're using the textbook, because textbook takes instructions. Listen and do this, listen and make it. But if I'm using an external research, video, like YouTube talk, if you don't give clear instructions, students are lost. And this is a good way to keep it from later. The topic dimension. Again, there was some increase in the positive results when it comes to the complexity or lexical complexity of the listening text and the utterances. But when we look at here, students are afraid of facing, sentences, speakers who are using these complicated structures, especially ungrammatical, or grammars which are beyond their level of knowledge. This is also scary. They really lose their interest to follow up. But what student 10 said is quite interesting, because student 10 said this, I don't want to learn to text. But this is what they're going to face at the university. But just think about it, they are just the first graders. Graduated from high school and placed into a program. So this is quite normal. Because they haven't started receiving these language lectures in the second year, third year, fourth year. But one way of offering these courses is to prepare learners for the upper years, for the upper grades. So cognitive load will be increasing during the education. some studies, they also look at the impact of the gender, whether there is a difference between ladies and gentlemen. And in the study, we couldn't identify any difference. So, both female and male students have moderate or same levels of willingness to listen scores. And one reason is some other studies, they found differences because there are lots of other joint effects that might influence one's willingness to listen or willingness to communicate in general. Proficiency, your lexical knowledge, the topical knowledge, your background knowledge. I can count a number, but there is no way, I guess. Especially, my expectation was that half of the students studied in the practical schools. That means when we pass the university exam in Turkey, to be able to be placed in an English language teacher education program, you have to pass another exam, which is the English proficiency exam. So the purpose of this exam is to measure students' English proficiency. If they are fit, they will be placed into the program. The cutoff point is 70 out of 100. Students who hit 69, they will go to 1 year intensive English language training program. So what will be there for them? They will receive skill-based courses 24 hours per week for 14 weeks in the spring term and for 14 weeks in the fall term. In total, 28 weeks. So, as a researcher, I expect that this 28-week instruction intensive course in English would make an impact on their willingness to listen. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. So that also means that there is not an easy solution, especially when it comes to these psychological effective factors like willingness, like motivation. Here you might just say the main reason is about their previous educational experiences. As we just discussed also with the contribution of Dr. Khalid, yes, we have mass policies, we have the schools, we start teaching English at the second grade, but despite the emphasis on productive skills and listening, especially starting with the primary school, our teachers neglect listening and speaking. And you can see this, especially when you look at the exam papers. If you're teaching listening and speaking, how would you measure it? There must be a listening test, right? A listening exam at least. Or speaking exam. We have only pen and paper exams, which measures learners' vocabulary knowledge, reading comprehension, and grammatical knowledge. That's all. So they can understand, but they cannot talk. This is the syndrome our students are experiencing for long years. I can understand, but cannot speak English syndrome. Lack of practice factor, the keyword. So in conclusion, I might just note both in the pre and the post-test results, the scores were high. My expectation was that this course might actually increase the willingness to listen at a significant level, but due to the reasons that I just cited, the course failed to improve the willingness to listen. Number one reason we might discuss again, lack of listening and speaking practices in primary, secondary, high school. Plus, I might also be interested in the role of English, the state of English in the Turkish society. When we live in English class, we have nothing to do with English. Even inside the class, most teachers, really English language teachers, teach English using Turkish. So you might be surprised, how do we teach English using Turkish? We cannot teach. We are just teaching English grammar, explaining Turkish. As Dr. Khalid mentioned, it's like a math class. Sometimes I go and observe my student teachers and they teach and practice courses. The student using a formula, like should, verb 3, then explains in Turkish, we use this structure, let's do this for that function. But the answers are even if the student writes it, this student can never use it for functional purposes in an introduction. We keep emphasizing the verb 3 should take its S simple present if it's preceded by he, she, he. It never works. He explains in Turkish. But whatever we talk about is English. So we just keep talking about English rather than teaching English. This is the case. And there is not an easy solution in the short term, but hopefully the new curriculum, especially the new teacher education like homeschooling was, like Dr. Khalid, using technological tools, maybe in the long term, we might be successful. But for now, there is lots of things to do. I guess that's all. But strategic training is something that we ignore, especially in the primary, secondary. We just think that when we teach the word, that's enough. No. Learners, good language users, they benefit from strategies.
There are lots of coping strategies, communication strategies, especially urban research and global leadership, places lots of actually importance on equipping learners with different communication skills. Sometimes switches, Turkishes, that's fine. Because it's a communication system. You might be lost for words, you might use it. Translanguaging, something a catchy research field. And I see lots of people also producing in Pakistan on translanguaging. This is quite useful. But there should be like an explicit instruction on teaching strategies, not just about listening, for all skills. So, that's all from me. Thank you for your patience. I hope you didn't lose your interest for further thought. Thank you.
University, Turkey, and he is currently serving as an associate professor in Burdur Mehmet Akif Ersoy University. Thank you so much, sir. This talk was chaired by Dr. Asif. Please requested to share his valuable comments. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Prakash. It was a very informative talk, and especially the point that you focus is, which is much neglected even in Pakistan, listening, because most of the teachers in our background also focus on speaking skills, they neglect listening skills. There are no practices in listening skills. Your study highlighted the importance of listening, and you did it in the perspective of world leadership, and you also highlighted the need to pay attention to non-native accents, non-native pronunciations, and in this, your one of recommendation that students should be trained in strategies according to their social linguistic environments is very nice. And one point on which you have focused is that there is no, if there is no listening, there will be no speaking. And then you actually have touched a real point by emphasizing on willingness to listen rather on willingness to communicate, because listening is the key skill, and you have highlighted its importance. You also have pointed out the reasons where there is a lack of this willingness to listen, and have suggested some strategies to overcome this lack. You have pointed out the variables which involve, which become the reasons for that drop of willingness to listen, for example, gender, caste, and topic. In short, it was a very well-framed research, and I think this is the teachers present in this hall will definitely benefit from the findings of Dr. Karan. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Students in the hall, they are requested to take on. We have our last talk, and your lunch and tea is just one talk away. So please take on and be patient. Okay. So we have our last speaker with us, Dr. Khalid Qatar. He is from Hamilton Akaban University, Konya, Turkey. He is currently working as an English language teacher. He did his PhD in 2017 in English language teaching. Dr. Qatar has 14 publications in national and international journals. The recent work by Dr. Khalid Qatar is on computer-assisted language learning. Dr. Khalid will deliver his talk on data-driven language tools in EFL classes. This talk will be chaired by Dr. Riaz Hussain. Sir, please.
Hello everyone, it's me again. And being the last speaker before the lunch is very good because you will be looking into my eyes and I'll decide the time. Yeah. This power makes me stronger. but thanks for your patience. I'll try to keep it short, literally, because my talk will be more on practical sides of teaching the language in the classroom. Of course, it is not limited in the classroom, because if you are dealing with technology, of course, you are also dealing with ubiquitous, seamless learning, anywhere, anytime learning. That's why this is the major outline of my talk. I always try to begin with the question of why, then what, and then how. So, data-driven learning, corpus tools, and corpora, these are used interchangeably, but the thing is that here we are using authentic language. It doesn't matter if it's coming from the native speakers or not. Sometimes we have non-native learner corpora, but the thing is that we are using authentic language. I'll try to mention the benefits, and I will try to show some evidence. Because if there is no empirical evidence, you cannot say that this is the case. Then I'll try to mention the definition of corpus, and then of course I'll try to show how to make use of corpus tools or concordancing or data-driven learning to teach lexical items, grammar, and pragmatics. Okay, we are comparing the countries, and Dr. Prakash said, instead of teaching the language itself, we are teaching about the language. So, while teaching the language, we shouldn't be prescriptive, because prescriptive is written by a doctor. But we are teachers, right? The doctor says, take this medicine, drugs, once a day, twice a day. But we need to be descriptive. Of course, here the things lead us to English is a lingua franca, English is an international language, sounding like a native or not. But the thing here is that first be natural, first get used to the language, first input then output. Don't say do this or you should do this. Just listen to the language and then try to communicate with that language. So, the first question is, how can language teachers help English as a foreign language learners to reach authentic use of linguistic items in both inside and outside the classroom? Because language is for communication, for real-life purposes, and already native speakers of that language are using that language. So why don't we begin by just observing them? So our guiding question will be, how can language teachers design activities by using corpus tools? Of course, these are not only for teachers. These are also for language learners or academic writers or anyone who wants to delve into the ocean of English language by using a corpus. So why question? The answer begins with exposure to contextualized, meaningful language in real usage. Context is very important because we all know that after this talk we will go to lunch. Anything I say about lunch is shared between us. So, shared knowledge, our context, both physical context and psychological, emotional, and all other contexts are important to understand the language. And here, reference tool for independent, autonomous language investigation. You know that famous definition, right? We should take responsibility for our own learning. It doesn't mean that we can learn without a teacher. It means that we should be interdependent on each other. Not fully independent, not fully dependent, but interdependent. So as a teacher, we are just guides, but the learners can just go further by themselves. And a corpus tool or corpora gives learners exposure to non-text language patterns. So in the classroom, sometimes English language teachers believe that the course book is the holy book, right? But it is not the case. We have only one holy book, and it is Quran, right? So it is not our holy book. Sometimes just forget it, do something else. Okay, we can answer every day use these questions, and we can understand whether people really say this or not. And we can understand the common constructions, because consider Urdu or Turkish. When we communicate in daily life, we are not using more than maybe 400 or 500 words. We are sharing our experiences. Sometimes we are gossiping, although it is prohibited. And we are just talking about our daily life routines, if it is not related to a profession or something specific, right? So, common things, frequent things are actually important. We should begin with that. So, if a vocabulary item is frequent than the other, we can begin with that one. Here, by the way, of course, I mean not only vocabulary items. You know, language is used with phrases. So, also we need to understand the difference between speech and writing, because sometimes we say while speaking is not used while writing. So we can understand the register, the genre difference. So, there is empirical evidence that you can teach vocabulary and grammar, you can teach collocations, you can just improve speaking skills of learners, you can teach modern words, and you can teach idioms. There are a bulk of evidence, there is a bulk of evidence in literature, but these are just examples because I'll focus on these areas of language. So what part is will be answered? It's a collection of texts, written or spoken, and it is stored on a computer. And it's a principal collection of texts. This part is very important because maybe I ask you to speak for 5 minutes, everyone in this room, and I record your voice, and then I just transcribe it and say, this is my corpus. Will it be my corpus or my data? It will be my data, right? Because in order to make my corpus, it should be principal, it should be very large, and it should be representative actually. So we said, it is the collection, and we are making use of written, spoken, or video clips by scanning, typing, downloading from the internet, or by using files that already exist in electronic form. We first record and then transcribe. So it is a piece of software, can be installed on a computer or accessed through a website, which can be used to search, access, and analyze language from a corpus. A concordancing is simply the sheet. Let's say our corpus is the ocean or sea, and concordancing is the ship. But by using that ship, we just analyze that area. It is the software that helps us to analyze it. We have different types of corpora. By the way, maybe you are not very sure about this collection. Every novels, magazines, newsletters, newspapers, academic journals, announcements at an airport, or even talks. Imagine that we are going to create a non-native English corpus. You record my session here. I am just putting this part quickly because I will show some specific concordancing to use corpus. So it will be more clear, but for now, it is a core tool in corpus linguistics, and it simply means using corpus software to find every occurrence of a particular word or phrase. Okay, so maybe you are looking for a collocation. In Turkish, for example, we say çorba içmek. But in English, it is not drinking soup, but eating soup, right? So because of my first language, sometimes we are saying in a different way. So you understanding this in a corpus by using a concordancing is like this. You search for drink soup or eat soup, and a concordancing tool will show you every occurrence, okay? And sometimes you will just search by adding some criteria. I'll show you examples. We have general, specialized, native, learner, monolingual, translational, parallel, comparable, equivalent, language variation, synchrony and diachronic corpora. For example, in the diachronic one, we try to understand how language is changing in time. Okay? For example, let me give an example from my culture. The word FMD, 200 years ago, it belonged to a high social class. But now it belongs to a lower class. So the use of FMD. And of course, by diachrony, you can also check whether vocabulary items are used now or in the past. If you search for selfie, can you find it 20 years ago? But it is very popular now, right? And all technology-related words, because every development is related or can be considered as a technological development. That's why they appear in the corpus more and more. So I'm going to talk about two big corpora. One is British National Corpus, the other is Corpus of Contemporary American English. There are lots of other types. For example, we have IVEB corpus. It just analyzes the whole web. But the thing is that in order to trust a corpus tool, you need to know that you cannot trust Google, right? Because if you search for university with S or with C, you will find results. Even with C, you will find thousands of users. That's why we need to be careful. If you depend on national corpus, it means that it is very difficult to find a mistake or a problem. So we have more than 100 million words. Mostly it is written, including newspapers, periodicals, journal, book, letters, memoranda, essays, as I said earlier. And spoken part includes conversation recorded in a balanced way. We can see government meetings, radio show, phone-ins, any other television programs. Of course, in British English. And the other one is Corpus of Contemporary American English. And as the name suggests, it is the American one. It was the largest freely available one. Now we have IVEB corpus and some other, but for American English, if you want to see how something is used in American English, you can trust this one. And it was created by McCurdy's and Wayne University, and it has more than 450 million words. And we have spoken, fiction, popular magazines, newspapers, and academic texts. The good news is that when you find something in the corpus, you can also find whether it is used in a magazine or in an academic text. That is why, for your academic writing, it plays a significant role. Because you know, register and genre play significant roles in picking our word. Word choice plays a significant role. Okay. So, some concordance tools are Lex Speaker, and you can just study vocabulary. My case is the Michigan Corpus of Academic Spoken English, and it comes with a concordance tool as well. We have European Youth Language, pedagogical corpus. So why do I need something like this? Maybe you are going to visit here and you want to become familiar with the language used by teenagers, adolescents, and then you can invite this one. Of course, we are already doing that with movies, with some Netflix series or some other series, but the thing is that here you can find the video part and logic, and we have that one European pedagogic corpora. So how part? This is the core part of my speech. Let's consider this speech as an onion. The core part is the how part. Here, how can we teach idioms, collocations, adjectives, grammar, and pragmatics by using it? Okay, let's give an example from British National Corpus. Speakers will access the BNC. And teacher tells to select lists in display on the left screen. Then in search screen, tells students to write the phrasal verb come up with. By the way, you don't need to be a teacher to do this. You can do it yourself. if you have a problem with the phrasal or collocation, or sometimes maybe we cannot recall some words even though we try to remember them hard, so just do it. And then you will click on search and you will see something like this. Come up with it. Its frequency is provided here. It means that it is used 1,205 times in this corpus, in this 100 million word corpus. The concordance lines, the concordancing tool will help you to see the usage. You will see examples. For example, you see that it is from a meeting, and you can see the examples. So after having access to the concordance lines, students can read and analyze them, and it will allow lots of exposure, right? And here I useful to this to guide students by pointing to the examples we want them to read, which are selected prior to the lesson. Or analyze verb, adverb, verb, noun, blah blah collocation. For example, you are looking for do damage, and you can just see all of the sentences. If you click on a sentence concordancing line here, you will see the full context, almost a paragraph. The thing is that after 10 minutes, I'll finish it. We will have a break, or take a break, or give a break, or do a break. Which one? Okay, which one is used for by British, by American? It is not very important, but the thing is that maybe one of them is not used by native speakers. So if you are going to be an English language teacher, we need to be using the correct one. I'm not using the word correct language, but the most commonly used one, let's say. Okay? So the thing is that we will have a break or take a break, okay? But not give a break. So this is a screenshot from Coca for do and damage. So you can also teach collocations to elementary students. You can just make use of a pairing game, because games are very important in the classroom. You can just delete those parts and ask your students to write do or may. Fill in the blanks. They will fill in the blanks, and you can create blanks with a click. Sometimes you depend on a course book to find an activity, but here the good news is that you can create it by yourself in only 15 seconds, and you can find hundreds of activities. Okay, so we talked about frequency information, register, and association, and these are related to the teaching of grammar. For example, you are teaching the model 10, and in order to teach this model, you need to mention 4 functions of this model, right? Ability, possibility, permission, and request. And you can find examples from a corpus. Just write can, bring 15 concordancing lines, and ask your students to say whether something is requested, whether someone is giving a permission, or whether it is related to ability. So, contextual analysis can be done here. For example, students could be next call. For example, you have to renew your license every year after age 75, and students will be expected to explain that have to renew because the obligation comes from the outside. So here we are automatically following the tenets of inductive learning, right? Because nowadays we are following that more than the inductive one, because if we explore something, it means that we are discovering, and that's why discovery learning is popular now. So you can create close activities, and I mentioned that earlier. You can just give this order to the convert answer. Delete all of the have tos or musts, and then you will have a fill in the blank activity automatically. So for advanced students, you can also teach idiomatic expressions, break apart, break the blank. So you can just analyze the language from this perspective. It is also very important because you cannot teach the parts of idioms. You need to focus on them, and if students see them in different contexts, it will be more beneficial for them. Or you are writing something and you want to see this, whether thanks to is used in academic texts or not. You are planning to send an article to a prestigious journal and you shouldn't use thanks to, because it is not preferred in that area, and you can see that in a corpus. That's why it allows you to see the original, authentic use of the language. So, pragmatics analysis is important because pragmatics is defined as the use of language in context. If I say, it is hot here, it can be a request to the organizer to turn on the AC, right? If I say it in a classroom, it means something else. If my father say it means something different. So we can just analyze the situations. Since we have a paragraph, we have a context, we can analyze it. So here, for example, we can find the meaning of the apology in the dialogues. So we can see how someone can apologize in different ways. So, in conclusion, as I promised, I'll keep it short. I'll finish it in a few minutes. Using Cobra has a big potential in the adult classrooms. So after this session, I want you to put this into your pockets. It has a great potential. And from now on, of course, you will be just spending more time on that and you need to learn it better because I cannot explain all of how English is used for communication by native speakers. And while designing corpus-based activities, language teachers should include the level because maybe you take something, of course it is the original English, but maybe it is not appropriate, maybe it is beyond the level of your students, so you need to check the sentences. Maybe sometimes some sentences are not appropriate, right, for your age. And cultural and educational backgrounds specifically you understand it better. That's why it is always suggested to read a novel by an author, because in a novel, an author tries to explain things in different ways, but it is the same order, so you can understand, see the things from his point of view. It is very important. The age group of the students, as I mentioned earlier, is also important. So, you need to know your tools, you need a concordancer, a collocate list, the ones I showed, a part of speech tagger, and that's the thing, you just click on the context. You need to know how to search, how to browse, and how to sort the things. Let me finish with an example. You just write research here. One means show me the words that comes after research. I don't want to see any other words in that. If you click two, it means that some other words can appear, so you will see this. Research plan, research into, research plan, research council, research project. And just click on academic and then find how research is used, okay? For example, breakfast, you want to learn whether to say do breakfast, make breakfast, or do shower, make shower, blah, blah. You just write breakfast and you pick one. From the left side, this time it means show me the words that appear just before the word breakfast. If you pick two, it means that some other words, one word can appear between that collocation and breakfast. So here we have for breakfast, after breakfast, before breakfast. Then you analyze. The first one is of course the frequent ones, but later on you will see the ones that are used in specific contexts and genres. And that's it from me. If you have any further questions about this, or if you want to just do it here, you can tell me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malik Katta, for your wonderful talk. I request Dr. Riaz Hussain to share comments, please.
Before I launch upon the presentation of Dr. Malik Katta, I have a question for students, and those who answer will be given prizes tomorrow here on the stage, so that I can check whether students listen to Malik attentively or not. The question is, how many corpus, how is corpus related to linguistic diversity? Yes, those who can answer. How is corpus? See, the theme of our course is linguistic diversity. How is linguistic diversity or corpus are related to it? Is anyone in the hall? Yes, take the mic here. The prize we plan not to disclose. Tomorrow we plan to present the prize.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Mohammed Amjad, and I am also talking about, I am also working on the corpus of visual documents. And as far as the question of Dr. Riyal Hussain is concerned, the corpus is related to linguistic diversity because it is when we prepare corpus, then we include different things and different texts from different areas or different fields of knowledge. And from there, we get actual usage. We can say that we get actual usage of language from different fields of life. And after that, when we concordates this corpus, we are able to know that how different fields of the people who are related to different fields of life, how they use language, and sometimes we also get just like.
Thank you. Dr. Riyaz just confirmed you got the prize. Short more.
And I also want to get the precious opinion of Dr. Galip Kadal that Sir has talked about the direct use of Kadra in the classroom. But actually, as far as the Pakistani context is concerned, then teachers are not, they are not the stakeholders, especially when the course is designed. And since we have to teach whatever is, is included in the course. So, what is your precious opinion that despite different studies talk about that they have acknowledged the benefits of Kapura in language learning and teaching, then I want to say that what should be the idea that the Kapura should be used in course books instead of giving the teacher to use directly in the class, as far as Pakistani context is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. By the way, I appreciate your answer to the diversity question. Was a good one. Actually, so in Pakistan, you say course books and teaching materials are not making use of corpus tools?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Actually, most of the publishers today make use of corpus tools, online dictionaries, and for example, that you are trying to design a course book on A1 level. How can you decide that one word is more frequent than the other? Of course, membership materials should be making use of corpus tools because you can see what is more common and what is less common. But this is the, of course, issue of publishers. As the stakeholder of teaching part, I can say that sometimes when we follow the coursebook activities all the time in the classroom, we are lost. And the thing is that, as I showed in my presentation, it was about academic writing part, I guess, autonomous writers, autonomous learners. So, you are writing something, you cannot repeat yourself. You need to find another way to say. Also, this is a strategy to avoid plagiarism. Because paraphrasing and using synonyms, antonyms, changing the structure of the sentence, just mixing the sentences, these are not enough to avoid plagiarism. By plagiarism, I'm not talking about stealing an idea. Of course, this plagiarism all the time, but this plagiarism is writing plagiarism. So you can just use a corpus tools to find a different way to say it. Because there are lots of other opportunities. So no one can write better than a Pakistani in Urdu, right? Because the first language, of course, they also need a specific education on that. But here in English language, we have native speakers and they already use them in different contexts for different purposes. So why don't we make use of them in the classroom? Also, sometimes activities are boring and we need to go further. That's why a teacher can use. I'm not saying you should use because it really depends on the context and lots of other factors.
Thank you.
I come back to the comment. So the diversity, linguistic diversity shown by corpus, or the importance of corpus in encapsulating the diversity of language can be understood when we compare corpus with dictionary. Dictionaries have been sources of learning, but now dictionaries are based on corpora. The dictionary compilers, the lexicographers, they base their work on corpora because corpora contain multiple context language in multiple context, broader framework, and one main difference between a dictionary and a corpus is that a dictionary is like a cookie and corpus is like a cookie cutter. So this is the difference, and these dictionaries contain formalized language while corpora contain contextualized real language, how people use those languages. So as the information given by Dr. Kartal, that they contain written text is 90%, 10% is spoken. So he defined corpus as soft, principled collection of text. I extend this definition and say a corpus is a soft, principled collection of text containing linguistic diversity. So thank you very much, Dr. Gali Kartal. He came from the noble city of Korea, that is the city which contains the tomb of celebrated saint Muhammad Jalaluddin Rumi. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, there is another question.
My question is that in our society, like university, school, and college, students of different departments ask us, what is linguistics and why you get admission in this department? In your previous classes, like native intern, you read this type of subject, and the government of Pakistan offer job in this subject.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, we are lifelong learners. Until now, I was defining it in a different way, but I saw the definition of Dr. Riaz Hussain, and I really liked it. Linguistics is the chemistry of communication. And in that chemistry, of course, some linguists are studying in the laboratories, and some others are making use of that chemistry products in real life. So as linguists, we are just approaching it as a science. But the thing is that, imagine that you are working in a theology faculty, a theologian, you do not practice more than one religion, right? As a linguist, it is not necessary to speak more than one language. The thing is that we approach it as a science. So, of course, it affects the society and the society affects the language. So, the social media can be a good example to this situation. The words are changing now, and I'm sure that in 50 years' time, we will be using more common words. So that's how I see linguistics and its effects on the society.
So what is the scope of linguistics in Pakistan and other countries like US and Russia?
Sorry?
What is the scope of this linguistic in Pakistan and other foreign countries like USA, Russia?
Okay. Actually, it depends on many factors. In my linguistics classes, for example, I'm trying to cover the branches of linguistics. I'm trying to show phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, pragmatics, because these are the micro-level analysis of the language to understand the general issue. But of course, you can only focus on pragmatics. You cannot teach in 14 weeks' time. So it really depends on your context, your needs. But in my country, I can say that we have linguistics departments and English language teaching departments, government recruits teachers from both faculties, both departments. So most of the linguistic department graduates are working as researchers, or they can be language teachers, but it really depends on the university and your goal. Thank you.
Well, we are really grateful to all guests for their deep, insightful talks and participation in the 4th International Conference on Linguistics and Language Teaching in 2020. And now I would like to request respected guests and teachers to move to the multipurpose room for tea, please. And I have an announcement for students as well, but first let our guests leave this form.